Why, hello out there, and welcome to Three People in a Blanket Fort talking about Star Wars. Nice and quick today.
That was quick. I was gonna say, usually there's like this long dramatic pause there.
Yeah, I wasn't feeling it. It's like 9 p.m., 10 o'clock, and I gotta go to bed. So we're
9
gonna
p.m., 10
crank this
o'clock.
out.
It's
We're gonna
10:30.
record this. Well, for you it's 10:30. For us it's like 9:30. Whatever, close
Uh-huh.
enough. Welcome to our Star Wars review. What did we watch today, guys? What did we watch today,
Monty
guys?
Python and the Holy Grail.
I wish. That's such a great movie.
You wish.
I wish.
No, I'm good with The Empire Strikes Back.
You're good with The Empire
That's
Strikes
right.
Back?
We watched The Empire Strikes Back. Widely considered to be, I think, the best Star Wars film
Really? I had
amongst
no
like
idea.
critics and stuff. Yeah, it is
Oh,
like
is it?
one considered to be one of the best. Yeah.
I had no
I mean,
idea.
I see
Well, then-
why.
My rankings will not be surprising then.
I see
Why?
why people like it. I'm not gonna say it's the best, as my rankings will reflect, but I see why it's so loved.
Okay. Yeah, I had no idea about that. Actually, I thought it was the worst out of the three when I was like growing up.
Ooh.
Wait, hold on.
Okay,
When I
wait.
was like
Okay.
when I was
That's
growing
different.
up, when I
That's
did not
different.
know how to critique film.
Okay, that's
So,
different.
Now I'm a bit
Also,
older.
you
and
said out of
understand.
the three, which does not include the prequel.
Yeah. So like the original three. So like New
Yeah,
Hope.
we all know Eddie's favorite episode is, 9. Eddie loves Rise of Skywalker.
I can't wait to go back and actually watch those movies, but I'll talk about that later.
I'm
That's
going,
foreshadowing.
just as a forewarning, I am going to be defending those movies as much as I can.
Okay. Hey, that's fair. That is fair. Well, you'll like what I have to say later in this episode because I'm
Okay,
going to be
good.
referencing those movies, but we'll get there. So,
Good.
Empire Strikes Back, guys. What do we think about this film? Holly, you go first. How do you feel about Empire Strikes Back?
I really liked it, and to be honest, it seemed so much better to me now than when I was a kid. And I think part of that is I appreciate the characters a lot more now that I'm closer to their age.
Yeah.
But especially Leia, because I just, as a kid, I thought Leia was the most stuck up, boring, school teachery woman, and I didn't even think she was that pretty. And put all those things together, I didn't really like her as a character. But now I see a different side of her that I really like the way that they portray Leia's personality, and I think her personality comes out a lot in this movie. And I like the playful banter between Han Solo and Leia, and I think this movie overall is a really, really good one.
I don't think it's playful banter. I think it's more cat and dog.
The banter.
Yeah, it's banter.
Yeah, I'm gonna call it spiteful flirting.
Sure. Very positive and not toxic at all. Woo.
No,
And definitely will not impact their relationship in future movies.
I think they're fine.
I did want to say, I didn't realize that that Leia and Luke kissed twice.
Yeah, that's
Not
true.
once?
I didn't catch
Wait,
the second
when
time.
was the second one? Was it in Empire Strikes Back?
Yeah, after
Fine.
they get him, after his arm is or his hands cut off, and they get him back on the ship, and she's about to. He's like laying on a bed or whatever, and she briefly, like, passes her lips over his and then leaves. And I'm like, oh, that's number 2. Oh,
This
that's
is a
pretty hard.
PSA. It's a PSA. Don't kiss your siblings.
They didn't know they were siblings. They didn't know.
Yeah, well,
Yeah, I feel
it's
like
still
they should have
gross.
sensed it through the Force or something. I don't know.
She didn't know she had the Force.
She sensed him talking to her.
No, that was him reaching out to her. That wasn't like a mutual
Well, then okay,
connection.
maybe he should have.
Okay,
sensed
the
it.
last time we talked about how the Force works, it ate up like 40 minutes of an hour-long episode.
All right, that's fine. That's fine. Shaner, your general thoughts on the movie.
I like The Empire Strikes Back, and I think what's really neat about it is it took what George Lucas thought about Star Wars, and then he was able to expand on it then. Like the first movie was his idea, his design, but he was limited, I think, in budget and what he could do because he didn't know anything yet. Well, he knew things, but he didn't know what he was quite doing. story-wise yet. So this time he was able to take all of his ideas and expand on planet designs and characters, special effects, the fight scenes, everything about it feels just like Star Wars, like the last one, but on a bigger scale and a much more expansive scale. And I think he also took a lot of risks with this one too. Like I was just watching earlier the fight with between Luke and Vader, and where he cuts off Luke's hand, and how unexpected that must have been for like people who first watched it, to have your main hero lose his sword fighting hand.
Well, yeah, I mean, things happen to multiple lead characters. I mean, Han Solo gets frozen, so there's that.
Exactly.
Frozen.
So yeah, that's what I would say. I like it because it took what George Lucas wanted to do with the original and what he started, and this time he knew it was going to be a commercial success, so he was really able to blow everything up commercially.
Those spaceships look good.
Everything looked good in this movie, I would say, except for the Tauntauns at the beginning of the movie.
The Tauntauns. I thought
They
looked
do
alright.
not look as good as I remember.
I didn't think they were that bad. I mean, they weren't like spectacular, but I also didn't think they were bad. The moving animation was kind of janky.
That's what I mean. So, Eddie, what did you think of The Empire Strikes Back?
You know, I like the movie. I didn't really like the movie as a kid. I really didn't like it. Like I said before we started recording, I think it's the worst out of like the original three. I mean, it's kind of like that in between kind of feel bad movie that you kind of have to have before like a triumphant ending. And the third one,
Well, I think that's what made it work. It was like, hey, for once the bad guys win, and you end the movie kind of feeling terrible,
but hopeful at the same time.
Yeah, it makes you look forward to what's coming next.
Yeah. Well,
but it's not a new hope.
Shut up. No, that's not funny. You're not funny. Yeah. Anyways, where was I going with that point? Yeah. Oh, but I rewatch it now, and it's just so much better than I remember it being. It's just an awesome film. It's not as boring as I thought it was. And again, I haven't seen this movie in like years. It's been years. Maybe not quite a decade, but it's been a really long time. And it blew my mind how much more I enjoyed the film compared to when I previously said. So I actually have a lot of talking points about this film. I won't go through all of them because we'd be here for like hours on end. So I'll try.
I also have some quick, interesting trivia whenever you're done with that.
Okay, cool.
That I saved for it.
Okay, well, here's my one of my critiques of the movie. How can they move the big AT-AT down, like in the Hoth fight scene, you know, when they're trying to like shoot the coils around the legs and they fall over, and then they can shoot it and then they blow up like all the other previous times they didn't, but oh no, it's on the ground, it can blow up now.
But that's a good point. I'd never thought about that.
You didn't either. That was me.
Yeah, that was
I mentioned that while we were watching. I was like, hey, hang on. They've been shooting this thing for how long? And then as soon as they trip its legs, all of a sudden it can be blown up from the top.
That's a good point.
I mean, in that case, why didn't Luke just shoot it from the outside when he was on the ground instead of climbing up and putting the bomb inside the actual thing? Seems like that is what would be necessary, you know, putting the bomb into the machine rather than shooting it from the top. And
maybe that's what made it explode, and they were just shooting it just to have fun.
Pew pew.
Otherwise, we're just gonna fly around in circles, so we might as well just shoot it some more.
Oh, pew 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 pew. All right. My other point. Why did the Millennial Falcon have so many problems at the beginning of the movie? Why? What was the purpose?
Okay, I could maybe answer that by saying, my car runs pretty well most of the time. But if I were to suddenly park it in the middle of a blizzard for 4 days and then expect it to start right up and run, it would probably give me some trouble. And my car is not a spaceship, an old spaceship too. Like my car's falling apart actively as I drive it. So I'm going to compare it to the Millennium Falcon because I think it's fair. And yeah, if I parked it on a frozen tundra planet with no sunlight on it to warm it or anything for, let's say he was there at least a week, I would give it, you know, that's why I had trouble starting up, not running for a week at least, combined with the cold, combined with the fact that it is a terrible ship. Iconic, don't get me wrong, but in universe, it's a pile of junk, and they call it that many times.
All
And
right,
you saw he even had to like smack it with his fist to get it started.
that's fair. I guess it's so much more broken down than like New Hope. Like it's just like
It's been a while. It
and that
continues to
is
break
true.
down.
Yeah, that's fair. Okay, I digress my point.
Best pile of junk in the galaxy.
It is, though. I'll give you that. It's the most iconic pile of junk in the galaxy.
Okay. I want to pose the question, and I don't know how you all
Okay.
feel about this, but should Luke have stayed on Dagobah, or should he have left like he did? Should he have said to Yoda, you know what, Yoda, you're right. I'm going to stay and finish my training and leave my friends to do whatever happened to them. Or should he have gone? Should he have gone? He got his arm cut off. What do you guys think?
Would it have made a difference for Han and Leia if he hadn't come? That's what you have to look at.
I think the only difference would be Luke would still have his arm, and Leia and Chewie would not be in the clutches of Vader. Right?
Why?
Does that sound right?
Why wouldn't they?
I mean, they would be. Sorry, they would be in the clutches of Vader.
Han too, they wouldn't have tested on that right away if they didn't know he was coming. Remember, they were like, "He's coming." Then we'll test this and make sure that Luke doesn't die.
I guess that's fair.
I mean,
Okay, he still would have ended up
he?
with. He still would have ended up with the bounty hunter.
Who knows
Boba
if he
Fett.
would have given him to the bounty hunter because he knew that Leia and Han were his best bargaining chips to get Luke.
Because him and Boba are buddy buddy. Did you not see that? They're like, two peas in a pod. Intergalactic warlords. You know, they're like they have a deal.
Vader would shoot him.
I don't think Vader would shoot him.
Vader showed the bounty that Boba Fett more respect than any of his other subordinates. In that like I shouldn't say one limited scene, but like that in that one movie. I don't know. I don't think he would have broken the deal with Boba.
I think he respects. I think he respects Boba Fett, but not Boba Fett's employer. I don't think he cares at all about that.
No.
I'm gonna say that no, he should not have stayed on Dagobah.
I'd agree with that. We don't know how it would have ended up otherwise, but at the very least, Leia and Han would have experienced a significantly longer time with the Imperial troops and getting tortured, likely.
Okay, hear me
and
out.
Luke ended up just fine without the rest of Yoda's training.
And Luke probably would have had even more dreams, which would make him even more angry, first of all, and nervous and scared, just like his father was when he was having dreams about Padme.
Mm-hmm. And when we look at the future movies, Yoda saying, "You need to stay here, I know what I'm doing," doesn't mean a thing because the Jedi were stupid and had no idea what they were doing.
That is your personal take. That is not the general opinion.
Go watch The Last Jedi and tell me I'm wrong. They were too stubborn to realize these are the Jedi, okay, who are like, we can sense everything. And Palpatine literally is right in front of their face 90% of the prequel trilogy. And they were too proud to admit that they couldn't see a Sith Lord. And almost all of them died because of it.
And we follow the Jedi code, but only when it suits us.
Yeah, exactly. And they're the reason that Anakin became Darth Vader.
I don't know if they're the whole reason.
They're mostly the reason. If Anakin had not been interfered with by the Jedi Council, or if the Jedi Council would have taken a more Qui-Gon stance, I'm going to say there would be no Vader.
Okay. All right, this is a rabbit hole, so I'm gonna cut it there.
Possible.
I just wanted to throw the question out there.
We'll come back to this for The Last Jedi.
Hey, you people listening, you answer the question. Luke should have stayed or gone? Let us know in the comments.
There is a wrong answer here.
Berate Shaner for why he's wrong.
No, berate Eddie, because we all know Eddie's always wrong.
I was right about Space Plantation. I was right about that.
You were not in any way.
I think let's not bring that up again.
Okay, fine. Moving on. So I want to touch on the dark side zone in Dagobah. Okay, there's that
You mean
dark
the cave,
zone.
that cave thing?
Yeah, the cave thing. I completely forgot about that scene. And like I said, it's been a while since I've seen that movie. But now having seen it, it makes me more accepting of the light side tree that appears in The Last Jedi.
I don't think I'd call that cave a dark side area.
He literally said it.
Did
It's
he?
the dark side, it's permeated by the dark side. He said
Hmm.
that. Literally.
Yeah, it like brings out the darkness in your mind or something.
Well, there's that too, but he literally said
Didn't Ray
the dark
encounter
side
one of
in
those?
cave.
Yeah, in the bottom of that
Yeah.
island.
Yeah. So the light side tree is more accepting. I'll admit, I thought it was a stupid idea at first, but fine, it actually fits with the canon. Fine, you have dark side, you have a light side to
See?
things. Fine, okay.
Things in nature can be permeated by light and dark.
Yes, okay.
Did you not hear Alec Guinness in A New Hope? The Force is a field, Eddie. It surrounds us, it binds us, it penetrates us, and it binds the universe together.
Yoda
universe.
was literally saying
Trees are in the universe.
the force is in
The Force is everywhere.
Yes.
He was like every rock, every tree.
We're like, whoa, look at that rock. That's a dark side rock.
Yeah.
Wow, look at that skyscraper. That's a light side skyscraper.
Okay. Also, C-3PO in this movie was a lot less obnoxious in this movie. He was actually an enjoyable character to watch, at least in my opinion.
Maybe he was a little less obnoxious, but he was still pretty
I
obnoxious.
don't know. Like, he was obnoxious
Does
like
he
an entertaining
serve a
way.
purpose?
It wasn't like, oh, he's obnoxious, put my hand on my forehead type of obnoxious.
Well, apparently he was so obnoxious to Han and Leia that they turned him off. So
Well, yeah, to them, but to us it was
Can
hilarious.
you blame him?
Oh, I
I
don't
would
blame
not.
him at all.
I would blame C-3PO off. I would turn him off so easily.
yeah,
Yeah, me too.
I probably would have done it before then. But I
Because
thought it
he
was
serves
funny, like,
no purpose when he's not being a translator.
right at the beginning when Han's like, you know, shut him up or shut him off, and Leia just kind of like holds him back, kind of like, oh, but C-3PO though.
Yeah, no, he's only there because he was in A New Hope. There's no reason for him to be here.
Can we talk about how kind of adorable it was when Chewie was like gathering the parts and stuff of C-3PO and was like super sad, and then puts his head on backwards like and laughs
And then
about
carries
it.
him around. Carries him around for the rest of the movie.
Yeah, it's pretty cute.
Okay, since we're on that topic, I want to go there. That's the most pointless scene in the entire movie. Well, sorry, plot line.
C-3PO is the most pointless scene in this entire movie.
Well,
They could have easily explained it away if he wasn't so iconic from A New Hope. They could have been like, oops, C-3PO fell in a hole and he's gone. And that's all you had to say.
oh, come on. C-3PO is comedic relief. That is his role, okay?
Yeah, like when he was on the back of
R2-D2's
Chewie and he
comedic
was
relief.
behind you.
Anyway,
See, R2-D2 is comedic relief and he serves a purpose. He opens and closes doors.
Yeah, that's true.
He flies Luke's X-Wing. Name for me
Okay.
one useful thing C-3PO did in this movie.
C-3PO makes it obvious what R2-D2 is saying. That is funny.
You should be able. You can pick up on that with the context clues.
Not always.
Hold on. I remember the unplanned thing, stupid thing that I say in every episode.
boy,
I
here
have
we
it right
go.
now. Hot take. C-3PO serves the same purpose as Jar Jar Binks serves.
I mean,
Comedic relief with no point.
you're not wrong. But see, C-3PO had a purpose in A New Hope.
What did he do? I forget.
He was like they specifically specify. Okay, he's made for like translating and what was
Right.
the other one? So there were several moments in the film where he was able to be like, "Oh yes, this is what's happening. I know that because of my brain."
That's true. He was able to get
And he was like able to distract stormtroopers. And he was there because they were trying him out. By this movie, they could have been like, we don't need him anymore. But he was just there because he was iconic.
Okay. But Jar Jar did the same thing with the Gungans and knowing where to go
Okay.
for Naboo.
Yes, but imagine if in Attack of the Clones, actually he did. In Attack of the Clones, when Jar Jar appears, with Padme in her Senate chambers, no purpose. That scene didn't have to be in there. He was
So
just there
ridiculous.
because he was in Phantom Menace. So yes, in A New Hope, C-3PO served a purpose, needed to be in there. He was a new character. Come the sequel, didn't need to be there.
Same
I'm
with
not saying
Georgia.
he shouldn't. That's what I'm saying, Jar Jar. I'm not saying you're wrong. They serve the same purpose.
Wow.
Jar
But what
Jar's
I'm
a
saying
lot less
is-
likable.
Oh, a lot less.
That
Like,
makes a
I get why
difference.
C-3PO is
fair.
in there now, but it's only because he's iconic.
Yeah.
I'm not saying I hate C-3PO. I have no deep-seated hatred for C-3PO. I'm just saying no purpose for him being there other than he's iconic now.
Wow. My theory had legs.
Honestly-
I just kind of thought that on the spot, and it just kind of kept going.
Honestly, though, I thought the point you were going to make as a joke was you were going to say C-3PO is the hottest character in the movie. Like, you started off like, you were like, I'm going to say something really stupid. C-3PO was. I'm like, oh, I think he's going to say C-3PO is the hottest character. Because can we be real? He is. I mean, come on.
Shaner, is that something you need
Yeah.
to admit? You need to get out there.
Yes. C-3PO is the most attractive character in this movie. I couldn't every scene he came on, I was just distracted. I'm like, man, I don't know whatever action is happening in this scene. C-3PO is on screen, and I gotta just pay attention to that.
Before he got shot, he was looking for another R2 unit. Why exactly?
Oh yeah. Back to the original point. That whole plot line is pointless. Of him like going away,
Yeah.
getting destroyed to bits. Like, what was the point of that entire thing? It served no purpose.
Maybe it
other
was
than
like an
comedic relief.
attempt at maybe it was an attempt at comedy.
No,
Because I found
think
out-
it was more so like a hint to what was coming. The fact that he was like, oh no, and he found something and then he got shot, but we didn't see
Oh,
who
okay,
shot
yeah,
him.
that's a good point. It was a setup for
Yeah. That's what I
the
think.
betrayal, but it didn't really need to be.
I
Yeah,
liked
no.
how like he's kind of known for saying things after everyone has already got it.
Yeah.
So I thought it was funny how as soon as he wakes up, he's just like, "Oh no, I'm shot! Oh, I gotta tell the others."
Yeah. Good old C-3PO.
See, I like that. I think it's funny. It does act as comedy, but yeah.
Nah, most pointless scene. I wish it
Alright.
wasn't there. Or not scene, but plot line.
Would you rather him not have been in it at all?
C-3PO?
Yeah.
No.
Would you have
See-
rather a different?
Oh well, hold on. Like that particular plot line, or like C-3PO like throughout the entire movie? Because I think C-3PO was great throughout this movie. I actually enjoyed him a lot, minus that plot line.
Well, what would you have changed about the plotline then? Because then he never would have been in pieces. You would have never had the whole Chewie has a friend in this droid thing.
What
It-
friend? He
Not
put him back
needed.
together. He found he got destroyed, and he brought his friend back and put him back together.
Yeah.
It did not need to happen.
Nobody knew he was that close to C-3PO.
Okay.
And it was
Yeah,
it was
no,
cute.
he's only there because he's iconic. So I think if he weren't that iconic, I wouldn't want him in this movie.
Okay, I wouldn't go that far because I did
I
enjoy
would.
C-3PO. Okay,
Like,
fine
I
with
don't
me.
hate C-3PO. I love C-3PO, but only because he's iconic.
Yeah.
Okay.
I
As a
guess. He is
character,
really
what's
annoying.
he coasts a lot on the fact that he's just C-3PO.
Yeah, that's fair.
There's a lot more in the Clone Wars TV show, which he's in a lot, where he's doing stuff with like the Senate and negotiating and being what he's made for, which is a protocol droid.
Right.
And keeping track of like protocols of different plant and telling people, oh hey, that's such and such from the monkey system, and don't forget they eat fresh pineapples, so whenever you talk to
Because-
them, bring up the pineapples, stuff like that. Here, no purpose.
The guy would do more if they gave him the opportunity. He literally introduces himself as a protocol droid with like
Yeah, they could have given him
skills.
something to do in this movie besides just be a bumbling idiot and causing problems for everyone else.
Okay. We gotta continue on, or else we're gonna.
That was
be
the
like another 3
C-3PO
hours.
rant.
Yeah, that was the C-3PO rant. Jeez, that was a bunny trail. Anyways, all right. So, does anyone want to get anything else out before we get into the categories?
A couple fun
Why
facts.
is he gold and not silver though?
So he stands out more,
I'm kidding.
probably.
Because he's
Just
because he's C-3PO.
Sure.
Okay, so some fun facts. speaking of Monty Python that we did mentioned earlier in the episode, right before they filmed the scene where Harrison Ford and Carrie Fisher play, Han and Leia, and they arrive on Cloud City, the night before they had been up drinking some really strong alcohol with Eric Idle at like a house party. Eric Idle, one of the main actors for Monty Python skits, while they were filming their movie, The Life of Brian. So they had been up all night drinking and partying. So that's why they were so happy the next day. It doesn't explicitly say they came in kind of drunk, but that's what it kind of seems like.
I wish I had that problem. Oh darn! I had to go. I partied last night with Monty Python and the crew, and now they come to work drunk. Gosh darn it! I hate when that happens.
I feel like that would be the worst place to have like either be a little drunk or be hungover is a movie set.
I don't think so. I think you could get away with it.
Bright lights, loud sounds, and a director going, "Do it again," because George Lucas was famous for taking many takes. I think.
Okay, yeah, that's fair. Okay, I was not considering The Hangover.
The scenes with R2-D2 submerged in the pool in Dagobah after they land was filmed in George Lucas's backyard swimming pool. It was unfinished at the time.
Nice.
And he shot that all himself.
Really?
Yep. The meditation chamber, Darth Vader's meditation chamber, the sound of it opening was apparently a recording of a whole block of Alcatraz cell doors slamming shut at once, which is cool.
Oh,
I always love have you ever seen those videos of people like explaining how they made famous movie sounds?
I've seen them here.
I think they're called Foley artists. It's really cool. The entire Millennium Falcon was built as a life-size prop for this movie, like the interior and everything.
Yeah.
It wasn't even like that in A New Hope. During the Dagobah scenes, Frank Oz, who many of you would know is from the original Sesame Street and Muppets and all that.
Right.
Which apparently George Lucas first offered that role to Jim Henson, who declined it and suggested Frank Oz. So that's cool. But anyways, apparently Frank Oz was doing such a good job with Yoda that the director would frequently accidentally talk to the Yoda puppet and not Frank Oz, who is below the set.
That's wonderful.
That's so funny.
The lighting for the stuff in space was apparently so hot that props were melting.
Oh.
Which I believe with how bright it had to be.
Yeah.
The blizzard on Hoth in the beginning was a real blizzard they filmed in.
Oh, wow.
Harrison Ford couldn't get in on trains, so they had to come in on a snowplow. And this last one is a bit harder to believe, but I want to say it actually happened, is that Billy D. Williams has said that he would go to pick up his daughter from elementary school, and children there would get really mad at him and start arguing with him about why he betrayed Han Solo.
Wait, Billy D. Hansen's who?
Billy D. Williams.
Lando.
Lando.
I see. Okay.
He would go to pick up his daughter from school, and kids would get mad at him and accuse him of betraying Han Solo and argue with him.
That's so funny.
Wow.
I can totally see that happening.
That's great.
So there's some fun facts.
That's funny. I like that last one. That's funny. I like Lando. He's a good character.
He was a great character, yeah.
All right. Favorite characters. Holly, you go first.
Why? Because mine is the easiest to guess.
No,
I know this one.
It's
Her
C-3PO.
Favorite character. No. You're thinking too hard.
Oh.
Her favorite character is the space lizard on Dagobah.
Oh yeah, the space lizard.
Yep.
You got it.
Yeah, wow. I knew it.
Well,
no, actually guessing, is it Han Solo?
Yes.
Yeah, I saw that coming.
Mine is also Han. He's just really fun to watch in this movie.
Wow, you both picked Han.
Yeah, I picked Han.
I'm always going to choose Han.
I'm not choosing
I'm not going with Han.
I like Han in this movie, but yeah. Well, who are you picking, Shaner? Who's your favorite?
Darth Vader.
Oh, wait, no. Hold on.
Darth Vader.
Han isn't my favorite.
Vader.
Your favorite Darth Vader?
You lied to our viewers.
No. So I originally picked Han, but then I realized that, wait a second, I completely forgot about Yoda. Yoda's the best.
Oh, yeah.
I love Yoda. Yeah, he's my favorite. I completely spaced on that one.
Nope, it's Darth Vader.
Really?
And I was like, that log had a child.
That's such an obscure reference.
You know, it was playing in grocery stores for a while there.
Was it?
It was literally
I don't
playing
remember that.
the Waynesburg Walmart. It was playing.
No,
Yeah, I'm telling you.
that's
I couldn't believe
insane.
what I was hearing. I looked
That's
up
insane.
and was like, no way.
If you don't know what we're talking about, go look up bad lip reading. What was that one called?
Eagles or something like that.
Yeah, no, it's Seagulls. Stop that now.
Stop.
Go look it up, and your life will be changed forever, and you'll never watch Star Wars the same way again. Anyways,
good
yeah,
lip reading.
Darth Vader. Darth Vader is my favorite.
All right, that's
It's
a good
because he's
choice.
Darth Vader. I mean,
Yeah,
watch him throughout this movie.
one of the most ominous characters, villains of all time.
Iconic too. I mean, how many times has he been parodied now?
A lot.
Besides obvious ones like Spaceballs.
I love Spaceballs. That's such a good movie. Oh my gosh, we should do that as like a celebratory last episode
Dude,
for this.
That's the celebration we were talking about.
That's the celebration.
Yes.
We were thinking of ways to like kick this off the series because like this series is carried over from like Two Dudes on the Radio. It's come a long way, so we wanted to kick it off.
It was our
celebrate
first
the end of it.
independent show.
A kickoff
It was
is
like-
starting things. That's not the term for
Yeah,
Yeah,
it kicked off.
she's right.
It sent whatever.
send off.
We started it back with Two Dudes on the Radio. It kicked off Small Beards, Big Opinions, and it's just
Yeah,
like
it was
an end
the
of an era.
precursor. It was the precursor to Small Beards, Big Opinions.
Yeah. So we wanted to celebrate it, and we were thinking of ways, and I think that's the way.
That's the perfect way.
Yeah, I would say.
Okay. There you go. You heard it, folks. In 3 months, when we get to the end of this, Spaceballs it is.
We still got 4 more movies to review.
Huh?
We still have 4 more movies to review after this.
Well, that's why I said 3 months, because
Yeah.
it's going to be a while. But
By then, they might have another movie.
stop.
Oh, don't tempt them. No, the newest one got canceled
Good.
or pushed back. No, it was going to be a really good one. It was going to be about like a fighter pilot movie about X-Wing pilots. It was actually looking really good.
I don't care.
I would love to see that movie.
I would like to see that too. That sounds interesting.
All right. Favorite character, favorite scene / moment. Shaner, you go first this time.
Okay, this was a tricky one for me because I was looking at all the scenes and it took me a while to decide on a favorite scene. Not because, and I want to say because every scene feels the same, but not in a bad way. Not feels the same.
It's very
But every
like,
scene
streamlined. Like it just streamlined
Yeah.
really well. You're never like, oh, this is a lull point. Like you're always hooked on what you're watching.
Yeah, so I'm never able to pick out a best scene, I think, because all the scenes are good. The same way with A New Hope. It was kind of like all these scenes are good, so how can I pick out a favorite? You know, in the prequels, it's easy to pick out a favorite moment because there was a lot I love the prequels, but there was a lot that if I were watching it, honest with
Right.
myself, I would skip through.
Right.
These ones, not so much, but I'm gonna have to go with just because of how, if I'm putting myself in the mind of someone who's watching this originally and no knowledge of the rest of things, the fight scene with Vader and Luke on Cloud City
Yeah.
would be the moment you've been waiting for since you first watched A New Hope. Because there was no Vader Luke fight in that movie except for a quick dog fight, a 30-second fighter pilot dog fight.
Right.
So this is the lead up to actually seeing your first lightsaber fight that wasn't two old guys, just kind of whacking their lightsabers together. And now this is an actual lightsaber fight. It's amazing looking. It's dark. Vader's actually using, strategy this time, and he's really beating Luke up. He's throwing things at him. He cuts off his hand, and it leads to the iconic, "No, I am your father." Not Luke, "I am your father." Don't get that confused. Everybody does. So I'm going to pick the Vader-Luke fight on Cloud City just because it's iconic. It's the first major lightsaber fight, and it's just fun to watch. And we get to see Luke using a bit of his dark side there.
Yeah, I'm gonna agree. That's probably my favorite scene too. I had the same issue you had where it was like there's a lot of cool scenes. I almost excuse me. I almost chose like the Dagobah training session bit.
I thought about that, where he raises the X-Wing out of the water.
No, we have that too. I just mean like that entire
Oh, I
entire
see.
time on Dagobah.
Yeah.
But
Because then I thought about picking Hoth too. So I start going into
yeah,
every scene is good.
but yeah, I think how can you not choose I Am Your Father?
Eddie,
Like,
you picked the wrong scene. We all know your favorite scene is C-3PO's little side adventure and everything subsequently. You were like, forget Darth Vader, forget Boba Fett, forget this whole freezing and carbonite side plot. I'm here for C-3PO and whatever he's up to in this movie.
it's not even that bad of a scene, but all the rest of the not scene plot line, but the rest of the movie is so good that like it just sticks out like a sore thumb.
It does. But I know that's what you were watching the movie
But it's
for.
not as bad as like I make it out. It just seems pointless. But that's my opinion. Holly, what's your opinion? What's your favorite scene / moment?
My favorite scene is actually the escape in the Millennial Falcon.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Okay, you've
I
both
love
done it this
that.
episode, and I'm gonna yell at you. It's the Millennium Falcon, not the Millennial Falcon. You
Yeah,
did
all
it
those
earlier, Eddie, and I
millennials.
was
The
and I was like,
Millennium
I should
Falcon.
correct him. But now that you've both done it,
No, it's
I have to wonder how long
subconscious
you've been
says it
saying
Did
all.
I
that.
say it? Did I say
Yeah.
You did.
millennial? Oh
Yeah,
no,
you
I
did.
had no idea. Why didn't you guys call me out on this earlier? I
I
had
don't
no
know.
idea.
I couldn't be bothered.
I said it because I heard
But now that
him
you both
say
said it,
and-
now that both of you
Yeah.
said it, I thought it was time to step in,
All right.
Anyway,
correct you.
Millennium Falcon.
the Millennium
That's
Falcon,
better.
when
The Millennium Fountain. Did you say Millennium Fountain? We got one right, and then you screwed up the next one.
oh my gosh.
You can do this.
The
go.
point is, I like that scene when they're escaping and there's just so much going on and he's trying to pilot and I think Leia's being a little less obnoxious than she could have been, than how you might expect her to be considering the 4th episode. But
Wait, are you talking about the asteroid scene field scene?
yeah.
So I read an interesting fact about that earlier. When they're escaping the giant worm in the meteor, apparently I can't speak now. You guys are messing me up. George Lucas. Yeah, there you go. Karma's come back to bite me. George Lucas wrote that scene apparently he wanted it to be funny. And he was really surprised when nobody laughed at it, when nobody treated it like a comedy scene when they escaped from that worm.
I laughed, but that's because the worm looks so ridiculous.
Yeah.
So there you go. That's an interesting fact.
Was it supposed to be comedy because the worm looks ridiculous? Like
I
the
don't know.
blob?
It just said that he wrote it to be a comedic scene and got really surprised when nobody thought it was funny.
So he's over there going, ha, ha, looking around.
And everyone's like,
Wow.
what was that? Wow, look at that giant space
Is
worm.
it gonna come back?
Wow.
Reoccurring character.
That was Space Worm cameo in the next Star Wars trilogy.
Put George Lucas face.
That's what Raisha said her last name was in Rise of Skywalker. You know, dramatic sunset. I'm Ray Space Worm from Empire Strikes Back.
All right.
Turns out that thing was on the dark side. It had dark side energy.
Something to change. I'm going to go first this time.
Wow, okay. Just take right over there.
Actually, no. I'm not going to say get rid of the C-3PO
Side
terrible
quest.
side quest.
Whoa,
It is what it is.
what a curveball.
Because I think there is a greater sin in this movie that I have not mentioned. Chewbacca got almost no screen time in this movie. And it makes me so sad because he's just a good character. And it's just a shame that his only screen time was the stupid C-3PO plot line.
I knew the C-3PO
Side
plot
quest.
line would come in.
Yeah, it did come
Okay.
in.
So what would you have Chewbacca do? I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm not trying to be like, well, what do you want him to do, Eddie? But like honestly, as an honest question, what would you have Chewbacca do more of in this episode? Like fighting, talking with Han?
Well, I really
What would you like
liked
to see
him,
him do?
I liked his whole trying to fight whenever Han was going to be frozen. That was good.
That was good.
Yeah, that was good.
Yeah.
And like him at the beginning trying to fix the Millennium Falcon was good as well. But just between those, he felt he wasn't really there. He didn't really do anything. Like I'm trying to think of a scene that he could have done a lot better in. maybe during the space war, no, not the space flight thing. Because I mean, Han kind of directed that thing, and he's a great pilot and all that. But like, Chewie's good too. He's not like terrible. He can do things too. He's not just the Mr. Fixer Upper. I don't know. Give him something. I can't think of anything specific off the top of my head.
He was slapping those monsters in the monster's mouth.
Okay, so was everyone else. He was just doing what, again, had to be. He was Mr. Fixer Upper. He helped fix the problem.
I mean, he was there. He just wasn't doing anything particularly huge.
I know, but like, he's such a fun character. He should have had something. Is my point. He should have had
I
a
agree
little,
with that.
little limelight.
He did get a bit
more shine.
sidelined in this movie.
He did.
Yeah.
He could have had more funny quips, and like taken some away from C-3PO.
I agree with that.
Like even just a little comedic. He could be a little comedic, but he can also be helpful. He doesn't have to be one-dimensional Mr. Fixer Upper or Mr. C-3PO comedic relief all the time. You know, you can have a little mixing, little combining of roles. But anyways, I digress. That's what I would like to change. Who wants to go next?
I don't care.
Don't jump at. Okay, fine. Shannon, you go.
Okay, so my thing is going to be similar because I went through looking at this going, how do you change something that I really like?
That's fair.
But I thought the only thing it was missing, more bounty hunter plotline.
Yes.
Like, don't introduce, what was it, like 6 or 7?
Yeah.
Really cool looking bounty hunters, and then just play with Boba Fett. You know, you've got IG-88, you've got Bosk, the lizard one, which, fun fact, that prop was originally used in Doctor Who. Like back in, I want to say, the 3rd or 4th Doctor's run.
Huh.
That was a monster mask before it was in Star Wars.
Cool.
Anyway, I think it was on Star Trek too, the original Star Trek show. Anyways, so yeah, if you're going to introduce all these cool bounty hunters, do something with them. I know it would make the movie longer, which it's already a very long movie, but give us a scene of them escaping from the bounty hunters, or at least show them doing anything. I know they weren't important characters like Boba Fett and what Boba Fett was set up to be, but just something. They're just there to stand there and do absolutely nothing. And they look really cool, and they would make some really cool side characters. Don't even make them bounty hunters. Make them like Boba Fett's entourage or something. Have them be there at Cloud City. Fight back against the rebel group for a minute. Literally anything but stand there and do nothing and never be seen again except in the cartoons.
I think you're getting a little Marvel fever there. Like I don't think it was necessary. I like their role. I mean, yeah, they're super interesting, but like I think if they would have added anything else with them, the movie just would have been worse.
I don't need like a full plot line with them, but just a small subplot of the bounty hunters, or just don't have them. Why did they need to be there? Why couldn't it have just been Darth Vader hiring Boba Fett? That would not have changed much in the entire script.
It's called world building. You don't have to mention, you don't tell it, you just show it. That's like a major theme, and they were just showing, you know. That's like a major thing with like the first like 3 movies of Star Wars. They show a lot, but they don't explain everything, and that's where the mystique in Marvel comes from.
I would point out the concept of Chekhov's gun, which we just talked about, Eddie. You'll be familiar with.
You're
with
a
like the
Chekhov's
samurai
gun.
sword, with like the samurai sword from Ninja Zombies versus Black Ops. You introduce something, do something with it, or just don't talk about it.
They did. They hired bounty hunters, and a bounty hunter found him. They technically did. They just
didn't need the rest of them.
6.
You could then that they didn't need to be all 6 there. World building or not, that scene would have worked even better with just Boba Fett.
I mean, it would have. I just think it would have been less interesting.
It would have been like, oh, they hired this one bounty hunter, and that would have set up real early why he's their best option, why he's the best bounty hunter. Otherwise, this kind of feels like Darth Vader is just going, oh, hey, you in particular, don't disintegrate anybody. But if it were just him, it would feel like, wow, the Empire brought in this one bounty hunter. He must be great. Keeping in mind, when they first made this, anything from the prequels wasn't made yet. So there was no backstory on Jango Fett or anything. People knew nothing about Boba Fett. And this would have been a great way to say, oh, this is the only bounty hunter the Empire brought in. He must be amazing. Rather than, he's okay, so we hired 6 other people that might also do the job just as well.
Yeah, I'd actually agree with you there. I thought it sort of took away from Boba Fett that there were, not just that there were a lot of bounty hunters there, but also that one of the Imperial guys was like, we don't need these guys. Why are they here? Kind of thing.
Yeah, and then they specifically point out Bosk, the lizard one, and that goes absolutely nowhere. He just stands there and goes, that sound picks up on the recording. Holly, what would you change about this movie?
Disagree heavily. Sorry. Holly, what do you think?
Let's get the last word in. If I were to change anything, I think, I mean, that's a hard one because I really like this one. There's not much that I would change. I liked the ones that you guys said, both of them. Giving Chewie some more stuff would have been nice for sure. I think I don't know how they could have done this, but I think they could have made the Hoth fight a little bit more unique compared to the other fights that occur in the Star Wars saga. It was kind of very similar to, I mean, although it was on Hoth, which was different in and of
Well,
itself.
fun fact, he said he made it on Hoth, like George Lucas said in an interview, that he specifically built Hoth because he wanted to challenge himself, because when he was filming space battles and battles on other planets, they were always dark and black backgrounds, so it was easy to hide mistakes in like your props and your special effects. But he decided to challenge himself by putting it on a fully bright canvas and a white planet where you can't easily hide stuff like seams in your props and mistakes in the CGI, which was interesting. So it's quite the change up. But I do agree. I feel like there could have been something else, like maybe some on the ground fighting more.
Yeah.
But it also makes sense why the Empire did what they did. If you've got tanks, don't put out foot soldiers.
I guess. It was kind of funny how that, the guys were just sort of in the giant machinery just standing
Yeah.
as they
It's one of those cases of people go like, well, why didn't characters do this? Because that's not as fun. There's no story there. It'd be more, that battle would be a lot more fun if they would have put some foot soldiers on the ground as well. But would it make sense and realistically? Not at all.
Well, I think you also have to think about like the Rebel Alliance didn't really know what to expect. I would assume they wouldn't know what to expect for a ground assault. Like it could have been a bunch of soldiers. It could have been a mix of soldiers
No, I
and
think
like
what we're
planes.
saying,
Like you kind of don't know what you're going to get yourself into.
no, we're not saying the rebels did that wrong. I think the point Holly's making, Holly, correct me if I'm wrong, is that the fight kind of seemed boring because you had all these rebels lined up in the trenches and the Empire shows up in their walkers and just kind of do nothing but just blow up everything in their walkers, which is realistic to how you'd win a fight like that. But that's when you get into the argument of, well, it wasn't realistic. Well, if it was realistic, there'd be no movie magic and it wouldn't be fun.
Yeah,
Like,
that's true.
When characters make stupid decisions, it's because the plot needs it to. And here they chose to go for realistic, and it kind of makes that fight, while it's a great fight still, not as exciting as it could have been.
Yeah. I think there are some things they could have done to make it a little bit more unique or a little more exciting.
All right. Well, that kind of wraps up our our rankings. We forgot our rankings.
Yeah, I wrote mine down beforehand.
Who wants to go first?
I'll go.
Han Solo at the top.
Yeah. Han Solo. No.
Not even the movie, just the character. The single character is better than all the movies.
Currently.
That makes sense.
Yeah, I think it is better than A New Hope, and I really like the plotline. I like the fight scenes aren't as good as some of the other films we've seen, but I still think overall it is a better film. with exciting plotline and everything. And of course, Vader and Luke actually speaking to each other and having that fight scene is also very interesting. So mine, as of current, goes The Empire Strikes Back, and then A New Hope, Rogue One, Attack of the Clones, Revenge of the Sith, Solo, Phantom Menace.
Did you like previously not like Empire Strikes Back when you were younger, or did you always like that film?
I didn't like it as much when I was a kid. I would say when I was a kid, I definitely would have ranked some of these other ones higher. But I have a new appreciation for it.
Okay. I'll go next if you don't mind, Shanner.
Hit me,
Because
because my list is gonna make Holly mad.
yeah. So I really did not like Empire Strikes Back as a kid. Like, I just did not like it at all. And so watching it now and really appreciating me really took me aback. So this rating might be more of my shell shock surprise at really liking it. And maybe it deserves to be lower, but you know what? It's going to be there and I'm sticking with it. So here's my list. Starting from the bottom to the top. Solo is at the bottom. Boring. Phantom Menace. Yeah, shut up.
You talk about Chewie having an interesting plot line. Chewie had
Yeah,
a
they give
great
him a whole
plot line in Solo.
interesting plot line in the entirety of Solo. You're like, no, it's boring.
Yeah.
I mean, okay, great. He had an interesting plot line in a boring movie.
Ooh.
Okay. Anyways, Solo's at the bottom. Phantom Menace, Rogue One, Revenge of the Sith, Attack of the Clones, New Hope, Empire Strikes Back.
Decent list.
I really thought about putting New Hope above Empire Strikes Back, but then you said, I don't know if this was on air or off, but Shaner, you had said that it's considered Empire Strikes Back is considered like the best movie of all time, and I was like, huh, because I kind of talked like myself into like saying, oh, I didn't like this scene, and like New Hope, I didn't have like the same issue of like hating on this one scene, so I'll put Empire Strikes here. But you know what? I really liked the movie, and I'm a little starstruck at how much I liked it. So you know what? It's going above New Hope, baby. Woo! Sorry.
All right. Okay, so continuing the theme of how we felt about this movie when we were younger, I remember kind of being indifferent towards Empire Strikes Back. Like, yeah, it was a Star Wars movie, and it was the one you watch between 4 and 6.
Sure.
But I never was like, I want to watch Empire Strikes Back specifically.
Right.
You know? But it's better than I remember.
Sure.
So here's my list from worst to best. And when I say worst, I don't hate the films on the bottom. They're just not as good as the others. So here we go. Get ready.
Just to differentiate, hold on. Just to differentiate. Shaner, because we had this issue last time. Shaner's list is specifically about taste and his personal preferences.
Yeah, no, this is not like what Star Wars films I think are the best.
Yeah.
This is about what Star Wars films I enjoy the most. So don't come after me.
Yeah. So, I mean, me and Holly have been doing something different. Like, we've been doing like a combination of like what we think is best versus like our likes. Like, we've been doing. But
Combination of those,
yeah. I've primarily been doing like taking like what is like the better movie priority, but I've also put my personal taste in there too. So we probably should have like, made a decision when we first did this.
Maybe at the end, once we're done with all these movies, I'll rank them based on what I think are the best, plus my personal preference.
Okay. We can do that in the celebratory episode or whatever.
Yeah.
But anyway, sorry, hit it, Shanner.
Okay.
Well, I would also like to.
I just want to say my list. Fine, go ahead.
I want to point out that my list was best to worst, whereas Eddie's and Shaner's are worst to best.
Yeah, because I like the surprise of what's going to be on top.
Yeah,
I guess
surprise.
next time I'll do worst.
Yeah.
I mean, we're not that organized. It doesn't matter.
Okay. Anything else?
No, go for it, Shanner.
Anybody got anything to say before I rock this Zoom call with my amazing list? Okay, Phantom Menace. Just cut it off right there. Phantom Menace at the bottom. Attack of the Clones. Solo. A New Hope. Empire Strikes Back. Rogue One. I forgot the name of the film.
Good.
I know what it is.
We both know what it is.
Revenge of the Sith. There it is. Revenge of the Sith still sits on top.
Why am I
Spoiler
not
alert.
surprised?
It's not moving anytime soon.
I mean, I know that's not moving. I still can't believe Rogue One is so high in your list.
Rogue
It's
One's pretty
just a
high on mine,
fun,
too.
yeah, it's a fun movie.
It's a good one.
If I had to pick
Alright.
which one I'd rather watch, it's just they're both really good movies in my mind, and that's why 5 is right beneath it. But if I had to pick which one I'd rather watch, Rogue One was made newer. It's got better effects. It's got cooler characters, not cooler characters, more unique characters, more diverse characters, aliens and weird things. And it's got that Darth Vader hallway fight scene. I mean, come on.
All right, you know what? That is your personal opinion.
You know what?
Shader.
Maybe
You
just
can
to
have it.
spite, Eddie, I'm gonna put The Force Awakens at the top of my list. For both lists, the objective and the subjective list. No, wait, The Last Jedi. I'm gonna put The Last Jedi on top.
Oh, that's even worse. At least Force Awakens is like a passable like Star Wars movie.
No,
That's...
get ready. When we get to these last 3 films, I am gonna defend them so hard.
But for now, our next episode will be on The Return of the Jedi.
Spoiler alert, I think it's better than Empire Strikes Back.
I think so too. Return of the Jedi has always been my personal
I
favorite
watched
movie.
this, I watched this not too long ago because it was on TV and I thought, oh, why not? And then I remember going, wow, I love this film a lot more than I thought. That's a spoiler alert for next week.
Yeah, spoiler
I
alert.
shall hold my judgment.
Sure. All right.
Oh, I don't like the sound of that.
Well, thank you everyone for listening to 3 People in a Blanket Fort talking about Star Wars. Like I said, next 3 People, we will be talking about Return of the Jedi. But in the meantime, folks, our next episode will be History and Hypotheticals.
Woo.
Your favorite info entertainment show.
Apparently not
Hopefully.
everyone's favorite.
Okay,
Can
I
I
made
talk-
one comment that it might not be people's favorite. They might like the Bops and B movies one.
No, I was talking about the dislike.
The
Oh,
symbol dis-
I
We
haven't-
never
haven't
addressed
posted
that.
a-
We're
I
gonna
haven't-
address that.
I haven't posted about it yet.
Well, you'll have to post before you put up this video.
Well, now I have to. You guys forced my
Ah,
hand.
We forced your hand.
I was hoping we would talk about during History and Hypotheticals.
Fine, then cut it out. Here's a good ending of the episode. Well, that's the show. Do. Just cut that over whatever we said 5 minutes ago.
Okay.
Or we
Go
all
to the
just go
beginning
at
when
the
you
same
insulted
time, we all go-
C-3PO, and then just put that in.
Oh, yep.
Thank you for listening, everyone. Have a great night.
Yeah, see you around.
Bye.